you get it? Is it on?
Hello there, and welcome to a special edition, election edition of the Ogre Network
Okay.
podcast, taking over the world. Because we are the ones that are going to get elected to take over the world.
I like
with
it.
Ed and Aaron.
I like it.
It's ours.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, regardless of who you voted for, we made it through so far.
And you know what? We're here working.
Yeah.
So it really didn't change anything, no matter who became president.
It's funny because we had this conversation and we were talking to people and they're like, oh, I had anxiety or this or that. And somebody asked if I watched it. I was like, man, listen, I had baseball practice and I had softball practice. I caught a little bit of it. And I was like, listen.
Did you have a cocktail when you were watching it?
I did not. I was too tired by the end of the night to have a cocktail. Listen, at the end of the day, I cast my vote. I did my thing. I submitted my stuff. And, it's like you just got to let the chips fall. It is what it is. Like, there's going to be pros and cons of both. 100%. It's never going to be a perfect system. It's just not meant to be. And at the end of the day, like, I was telling somebody last night, like, if I voted for, Trump has been elected.
Correct.
The president. So let's just say, in theory, I'm not saying I did or I didn't. I am not giving away my answer, but let's say I voted for the other candidate.
Right.
It's not like I could take in a paper to the bank today and be like, listen, I am so distraught over my candidate not winning. I'm not going to go to work. I'm not paying my life has to go on still. And
right.
And you know what? This is actually a really good segment. Okay. This just got me inspired in the brain,
you're
okay?
inspired in the brain.
So we've been doing some bold, right?
Yes.
I think we talked about this on before. A really good program that KW puts on my first time through. Just kind of helps you get your mind right, your business right, and accompanied with all the other coaching that we do on the sides.
Yep.
It's good. And yesterday's big thing was life is unfair, right? That was the thing. That was the theme or one of the bold truths, whatever. And I think that's probably a perfect title for yesterday. Like, life is unfair. Like, you can't always get it your way. Things don't always work out perfectly. And again, this is not a political thing, over the next 4 years, people will be happy, people will be pissed. It is what it is, but life is unfair. So, what's your alternative? Because I was just talking to a good friend of mine who we've both lost parents, and unfortunately, he even lost a little child, and it's like, life sucks. Life is unfair. And it's like, are we going to sit here and cry about it? Like, we can't do anything else about it now. As long as you voted, you did your part, the results are what the results are, and now it's time to get back to work. Like, I still got baseball games. I still got a mortgage. We still got clients we got to help, and
we still have everyday functioning life.
Yeah.
Like, we can't turn around and say, hey, you know what? Unfortunately, life is not happening the way I want it to happen, so I just got to stop doing what I'm doing, or because of any particular affiliation to anything, it means you don't work anymore.
Right.
And that just doesn't happen, right? So we have to continue to plug through. We got to go through. And I think that yesterday's whole premise of bold with life isn't fair, I think it hit home to a lot of people that were in the class, right? There was, 60 people in that class? And I think it hit home to a lot. I had a couple people that I've told them that when I talked to them, because this is my fourth time going, and they were, and I spoke to them. I said, "Hey, I think this is going to be life changing for you. I think you should go." And a couple of them came up to me today and were like, "Hey, thanks for letting me know, because I'm glad I went yesterday."
Yeah.
And I know that you and I in the car, not to throw you under the bus.
No, I know what you're going to say.
You were like, yeah, I think I'm a little.
My head was in a pretzel yesterday.
Yeah, you were in a little different headspace.
It was a funk, and I think it made you really think, how fragile life is, how we go about it, and how short life is, and you talk about unfair. Again, we've all lost people. This is not a pity party, and that was part of the thing. Is yesterday, putting failures and things that you didn't think were fair, and my dad passing away at 65, I'm like I feel like I got robbed of 20 years with him or whatever the case may be. And it's on the grand scheme of things, it's a presidential election. I get it. It helps shape America, right, wrong, whatever it is. But there's so much other shit in this world that sucks more than my candidate or your candidate winning or losing or whatever. It's I'm having that conversation. And last night I was how things shape. It was wild. I was in a pretzel, playing the victim or, am I cut out for this or what do I want to do? Like, it just makes you think about all the stuff that's happened in life and the options that we have. Like, we have options to, when my dad passed, I had an option to phone it in and use that as an excuse and play victim and be like, well, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this. Life's unfair. I'm pissed off at the world. And I think we have that same decision today. Like, people have to decide, like, okay, I can be pissed that my candidate didn't win. I can be excited my candidate did win. This is not a time to sit here and gloat and divide ourselves. It's like, man, it's time to clock back in, or, it's like make a decision. Don't change careers, or, commit to it or not commit to it. Move out of the country, stay in the country. It's like people have all these decisions, and that making life unfair yesterday it got me thinking, and
good. I know that we were also thinking, right? Not only about what was going on or what wasn't going on, or if you were playing a victim or not victim or whatever. Yeah. But we also had a great conversation about tools and how do we provide more value to clients.
Right.
And it's funny because I was like, hey, yeah, I've had this tool for like 10 years. I haven't used it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. And then you saw it this morning. You're like, we got to use this.
Well, and to your point, I think we take for granted, like, our abilities, right? Like, you always, I don't know, like, for me, like, I'm always thinking, like, I wear things very emotionally. I don't like conflict. I wear failures hard. Like if my client's not happy about something, like, I have trouble sleeping, and I make them out worse in my head, which some people do. And, I was struggling with something yesterday, and I was like, man, like, I hope they feel like I haven't done something for them, but I feel like I know I have, but you got that minute of second guessing yourself. And, they got us thinking about this tool. It's like, we use it as a platform, like you said, to be like, I was like, man, we should do this. And you're like, oh, matter of fact. And now we've used that life is unfair and victims and situations to catapult to something that I think is going to be so beneficial for our clients to keep them in the loop, because we go through real estate every day. Oh, due diligences are coming, loan inspections, home inspection. Like, that's just like breathing to us, where other people are like stressed out. Like, oh my God, what are the dates? What does this mean? What is it? We're like, hey man, it's okay. But it's easier for us because we're in it every day.
We function in this every day. And it's crazy because when like, I was talking to Mercy today about it right before you came in, and we actually started looking at it together and all that stuff. I was telling her, and I was like, I know we've had this system for a long time. And
10 years. I looked at one of the dates today. This system has been in your possession for 10 years.
Yeah. So I told Mercy, I was like, I know that we've had this system for a while, and I've tried to implement this before, but I never got buy-in.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was like, well, I was talking to Erin, and she goes, I know exactly who you're talking about. I know the transaction. And I'm like, can you let me finish getting it out so I feel like I'm actually doing something? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, and it's funny because she said something that was really important. We were talking, and she's like, very similar to what you said, right? She's like, yeah, I guess since we're in the business,
yeah, like
we buy a property, or we sell a property, or we do something with a property, and to us it's no big deal,
right?
Like, it's just something we do. But she's like, I guess if I wasn't in the business and we didn't know all the terms, and we didn't know all the rules, we didn't know all the things, we might be freaking out. I'm like, yeah, the difference is, like, you freak out and you tell me. And I take care of it. Like, that's it. Right? And then I'm like, Aaron's wife that freaks out. And then he freaks out. And then we got to figure it out. So he understands the anxiety.
Yeah.
Right? Then he has a client where the client's wife goes to the client and he gets anxiety. So it's a lot of people with anxiety. And there's not a ton of people around that are like, oh, just give it to me. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Like, just don't. Not that they don't care, but they don't get stressed over it. They're just like, I'll fix it. So I was like, we need to create a system and start using it. And I think this is going to be the perfect tool to have them have access to whatever they may wake up in the middle of the night and have anxiety and be able to log into something and get their answers and at least put themselves at ease that there's something going on versus having to send a text or you get a call, 6 times at 3 o'clock in the morning about the closing date.
That was a wild situation.
So I think that utilizing I think part of what we were doing, let me get my train of thought right. Part of what we did yesterday, right, go through the exercise, rather than just sit there and say, oh, wow, that was a very emotional, draining day, we were like, it was emotionally draining. We know what we have to do. Hey, by the way, we're having this kind of difficulty in our business. How do we fix it?
Well, and I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. Like, you come to the crossroads, like, okay, right. What do you do? And I think yesterday was a great opportunity for us to continue to add value to our clients, because at the end of the day, people hire us to take care of these transactions. And I mean, you're talking the two transactions combined, you're like almost $1 million worth of real estate, transpiring. And it's like, it's a lot for people, trying to move out of a house, trying to move into a house, trying to get your house ready to clear all your inspections, trying to get your new house, clear those and see what you can and can't do with not jeopardizing deals. How hard do you push? And, it was one of the things I learned from my coach, when I first started into video content and social media. It's like everything is to create value. And yesterday was a great opportunity. If people in that room took it, this was an opportunity to find out where you're lacking value and where you can add value. And so we found a hole in a system. Like, nobody else probably would have even mentioned it or thought about it. And like you and I, like I'm telling you in the car, like, man, my head's in a pretzel. Like, right. How can we add more value? Like, how can we assure people peace of mind? Like, there's no perfect peace of mind. And I think that's what it goes to, like the election, like anxiety and peace of mind. Like, right. There's no perfect system. There's no perfect way. But if we can continue to get better, if we can continue to add value to our clients, and this being one of them, that's why we started YouTube videos. That's why we do, even just like this little podcast, just to kind of like talk about things that are going on and let people know, like, they're not alone, like that you have people you can count on. But now, like the YouTube buyer academies, seller academies, where people can go on and look at these information and get it at any time. They basically, our systems work 24 hours for our clients so that they can help, like, put to ease some of their anxiety. And then this is just one more tool that we came up with yesterday. Like, holy crap, we've got an anxiety counteraction pill sitting here in a computer system. If we deploy this thing,
it'll work.
It'll work. And I think it'll give a lot of our clients even more satisfaction in knowing, hey, we're all over everything. And now you can see it, because, there's like that thing, like, like you drop your car off, right? And I know, like, so this is a great example, right? Like, there are places you drop your car off. You're like, I don't really know these people. They tell me I need $5,000 worth of repairs, and you just got to take their word for it. Okay. And that's a little scary. But like, you talk about brands and adding value. Mercedes is a classic example. And my dad loved the Mercedes because of the service. I know you are a big fan of Mercedes, right? And it comes down to service, because I know when you talked in, like, even your car, Mercy's car, your kids' cars, or whatever the cars are, you go for the brands that provide that extra value, that service, where you get videos. Hey, this is why this is going to cost $200 to fix. Let me show you. And you get clips and videos, almost like a home inspection, but it's like, it makes you feel better about the transaction, knowing that you're not just like, oh, I don't know, should I believe them? Should I not? They're like, they're giving you the proof through it to kind of set that anxiety. So now when you see that bill for $1,500, you're like, okay, that makes sense, because I see that, and that. They showed it to me. They laid it out. They mapped it all. Instead of it would be easy for a mechanic to be like, hey, yeah, it's $1,500. I'm going to take care of it. Don't worry about it. And you're just like, well, why? Tell me more. And that's where we get with, like, our clients. Sometimes we're like, hey, we got it. They're like, yeah, but I'd like to know what we got and what you're doing. And I think that system today, like with the notes and being able to update weekend now, so they can see, not sitting there trying to be like, look, oh my God, I'm working so hard. Yes, we work hard, but this is not about us working hard. This is about us communicating, keeping them in the loop, so that at any point they wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like you said, and be like, what's the date on my due diligence? Did it just pass? Because that's what I started thinking. They're like, well, what about our times? I'm like, oh shit, what about times? Like, I know I have our times. Our times are good, but it makes you just second guess it for a second, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny because talking about the videos, right? When I take Amanda's car to get serviced, she always says, "Oh, you're gonna take Betty to go get violated because they're gonna violate her."
Hey, somebody violated white lightning over the weekend. Somebody
White lightning.
Somebody tried to take white lightning out.
Yeah.
The truck was cruising down the freeway at, I'm going to call it 65 in case any police officers are watching. I just want to go on record that says I was traveling this speed.
65.
I was maybe 64 and a half, just to make sure. And I caught something in the windshield and it almost had to change my drawers.
Think you caught it.
I did. The windshield caught it.
I think somebody threw it at you.
I think so too. I think it could be because the Toucans were on a heater over the weekend, winning some baseball games, and I think people were a little nervous about what we were about to do.
You know what? I think that next week,
yeah,
you have to bring in the uniform.
Ooh, okay. You want to see the Toucans? Hey, the Toucans are looking sharp. Thanks to thanks to the Ogre Network.
The Toucan, I think you have to bring in because that jersey looked sick.
This is fire, dude. We got a couple compliments out there.
That jersey was fire. I think the whole color scheme.
It was nice.
You know what, Amanda? Can you have him bring the toucan hat that's in the?
Oh, I can go with the toucan hat today.
That's in the office.
It doesn't even do it justice. The uniforms
but
are
at least if we bring it, they can see the colors and vibrant colors and stuff.
Okay, so now that Amanda's at, because she's probably gonna laugh at us when we talk about this. We're in a safe place now. With everything that's going on, there's always conspiracy. This, right?
Yeah.
We have there's a conspiracy theory that I'd like you to explain. I had the hiccups, and you're trying to feed me some BS line that hiccups aren't real.
Did they go away?
They did.
Okay, so this is a theory that Brandon my son, got from a video, somebody on YouTube, and he went around, and he was trying to figure out how to get rid of hiccups. So
I got the best one. I got the best solution.
So there was scare somebody or drink water upside down or squeeze your butt cheeks and that's going to get your hiccups go away. There's always something that makes the hiccups go away. So he followed a YouTuber, and I'll get the name of the YouTuber, but he got a YouTuber or something, and it said it. Oh. Put it over here. It's fire. It's fire.
Oh, yeah, the fire.
It's
fire. The fire came.
The colors are fire.
It's popping. See, I think somebody was upset that they didn't get one, and they just they tried to take out white lightning.
Fire.
Yeah, hey, it goes good with that red. It goes good.
It goes good with any color. These colors are fire. So anyway, Brandon said that this YouTuber came up with this theory that if you just sit there and say hiccups aren't real, they go away. Oh. And he was trying to figure out, because he kept doing the theory on himself in the mirror, whatever, and so he found somebody on, I guess, Tinder or Hinge or one of these dating apps. He went on.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think you were going to dating apps to figure this out.
So he went out on a date, and he took this girl out, and they were sitting in the middle of a restaurant. And she got the hiccups, and he jumps up out of his chair. Hiccups are fake! Hiccups are fake! And he started screaming, hiccups are fake in the middle of the restaurant. So apparently her hiccups went away, and so did she.
So hiccups and dates are not real any longer. I was gonna wonder if this produced a second date or not.
So that reminded me of a story of a guy that I know that went on a first date, and he picks up this girl. He goes, make sure you dress up really fancy. So he gets a limo. He's in a tux. She's in an evening gown. Oh, wow. She's like, where are we going? He's like, it's a surprise. It's a surprise. Where do you think he took her?
McDonald's.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, it's an aggressive move for a first date.
That's
an aggressive move.
That's a boss play, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure I subscribe to a boss play, but it's a heck of a move.
That's a boss play.
Okay, listen. I think it was some of our family in Chicago told us one time, and it seems to work in our household.
Okay.
A spoonful of peanut butter gets rid of the hiccups because it somehow it disrupts the way that you're swallowing and you're breathing or chomping or somehow it affects
Smooth
it.
Or crunchy?
Well, listen. Here's the deal. If you like crunchy peanut butter, you're also like that. I can't back this up, but I'm gonna go on record that says it increases the chance that you are a serial killer.
Okay.
By at least 60%.
Okay.
Nobody likes crunchy peanut butter.
So
do you like crunchy peanut butter?
No, I like.
Oh God.
So I got a.
Why do they make crunchy peanut butter?
Because some people like chewy. Some people like the crunch. Why?
That's dumb.
come on.
Put chips in your sandwich then.
That's actually really good.
Yeah,
Have you done that?
I have. I can appreciate that.
Have you put fries in a burger?
I don't know that I've put fries in a burger.
Oh, that's a move.
Okay.
That's a boss move.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see it. Yeah. Crunchy peanut butter, I'm all out. All out on crunchy peanut butter.
I don't like crunchy peanut butter. Not too many things I don't like, obviously.
Hey, that baby's going away. You're in there grinding.
It's going slowly.
The same time I get up every morning to go to the bathroom and then go back to bed, you're like getting to the gym.
Yeah, you're right. So, so I think we did something pretty cool today.
No,
I'd like to see your thoughts on it. So our office decided they want to start featuring teams.
Yeah.
And they asked us if we would be the first team that they featured.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, come on. Our team.
Yeah, give us a platform.
Come on. All you got to do is give our team a platform. Like, we love to talk to people.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we do all
100%.
day. And we did it at one of our sister office. And tomorrow we're going to do it in our office. And I think it went well.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I thought, it's always one of those things. Anytime you go and talk about your team, it's exciting because they asked us to lead off this whole project. Right. So, but I think it's kind of like being like a leadoff hitter in baseball. It's like
you got to knock it out.
Yeah. You mean you don't know really what's coming. You're the kind of the test pig, but you're obviously a good player. You're up at the top and. I always
expect you to get things going because that's what a leadoff hitter does in baseball, right? Like you always get a sure hitter, somebody that's may not hit home runs all the time, but they're gonna make sure they're a solid hitter. They're gonna get you a single, a double every time at bat.
Well, we gotta hope my son doesn't watch this because it's gonna help him get a bigger head because he's our leadoff hitter.
That's where you put the sure-headed hitters.
Yeah. But I think it was
because you want them to get on base.
And I think that's what they wanted us to do, to bring some energy to kind of get this thing kicking. And, we bring the noise. We bring the thunder. We bring the noise. And, they had some baited questions that, they put out there. But I thought it was cool because you're never sure if anybody's going to ask questions. Right? And that's always that awkward. Like, anybody have any questions? Like, no. But then we started getting it. Then it started rolling. And, there was a Q&A. People were talking to us afterwards. And then we got, we set an appointment, basically, for someone's like, hey, listen, I've been really looking into teams. Wasn't sure. Like, I feel like this could be a good fit, which is also another benefit of continuing to grow our team.
Right. And I think that it's a cool, like, I love when people, right, because I've been running teams for a while, right? And you and I, thank God we hit it off and we decided to start this thing we got going. And I always struggled to find team members, right? And they always say when you get to a certain level, when you get to a certain point, you no longer look for team members, you attract team members, right? So it was funny because we were there and people were like, hey, come up to us. And I've talked to other teams, but it's not my vibe. You guys are more my vibe. And then we've also had somebody come up and say, hey, I've worked on this team. It's been a team for forever. I've worked on this team 30 years. Obviously, they're successful and make money. But I have some questions for you about how you guys do things.
Yeah.
So to me, it was pretty cool. It's like, oh, you're telling us that uber successful teams that we want to get to the level of production where they're at, somebody that's associated with them is asking us questions on how we do certain things. Right. So I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you got to, again, from yesterday's bold session, sometimes you got to give yourself a little grace and just be like, you know what? We did a good job. We're doing a good job.
Yeah.
We may not be where we want to be, but, man, the journey's fun. We're having a good time doing it, and we're doing okay.
Well, and to kind of put a bow on the whole thing, I think it's no matter what industry you are in, it's. I made a comment yesterday in the class. It's like from the old.
Put me in, coach.
It's from the David Ramsey one, and like people like him, they don't like him. I think there's aspects that really work, and I made the comment in bold. It's like like everybody's always comparing everybody. You're always comparing yourself to somebody else.
Right.
Am I as good as them? Like hitting wise, am I as good a hitter as them? Am I as good as an artist as them? Am I a good salesman like somebody else? And I think when you put that aside and you stop worrying about everybody else and just worrying about what you can do and like be true to you. And I think that's what it kind of taught us that, I don't know, it was a Japanese word like zingutsu or the zingitsi, the broken pot that they fill with.
We need Max. We need the gold filling.
We need the Japanese Max, the Japanese speaking, which caught me off guard, by the way.
Max is a talented guy.
I am not going to lie. Max speaking fluent Japanese caught me off guard. Did not see that coming.
I've known Max for years, and I didn't know he spoke Japanese.
And it's talking about like filling those gaps in a broken pot to bring the pot back together, and knowing where your cracks are, your deficiencies are, and getting the gold to fill it in that example, but just filling it in, and starting to put some of that into play. When I was thinking about it, it's like people spend so much time to keep up with the Joneses. And in the book, this says like, most of the time the Joneses are broke. You don't know their situation. Maybe they inherited money. Maybe they got maxed out credit cards. Maybe they're in debt over their eyeballs and they can't sleep at night. They got all the fancy cars, the big house, whatever it is. But like, dude, they miss one paycheck and they're like, notices are coming,
They're toast.
But yeah, it made me really think and made me really appreciate like partnering up with you and our team is like, I don't think we try to be anybody we're not. And, it's like we've had different coaches and, I've had a coach for a while and, he's always something like, people like me, people hate me. And, and I think that's how you have to be okay with that, which that's a struggle for me because I don't like people not liking me. Right? I don't like people not liking me and I don't like conflict, which sounds amazing for a real estate agent. But
for a salesperson, that's a great life to live.
And I think that's where some of my anxiety kicks in. It's like, oh my God, did I say the right thing? Are they going to like me? Are they mad at me now? Like, did I ruffle some feathers, where, and that's why like I come to you sometimes and I'll tell you like, nah, it's the right thing. You're like, hey man, you're always you. Like you're unapologetically you. Mercy is unapologetically her, right? Yes. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people have to learn is that it's okay to be you. Like if people can't accept that for who you are, life is too short, to be worried about what other people think of you. If you're true to yourself and you believe that you're really doing the right thing, like I believe it, you can go to bed at night knowing that, with a good sleep, knowing that you've done the right thing.
So I'm going to ask you a question in the last couple of minutes.
Baby.
And I'm going to ask you if you've ever heard of this. Have you ever heard of...
Yes.
The winter arc?
Not... Well, okay. So I might know where you're going with this. The answer is I really hadn't until I stumbled upon a video yesterday or the day before, and I'm wondering if you're going to reference the same one.
No, so
okay.
I watch a lot of videos
that
mention the winter arc.
Okay.
So do you know what the winter arc is?
No.
Okay. So they use it a lot in the gym culture.
Okay.
As the winter arc.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it starts October 1st.
Okay.
And it's when you grind for the winter, which is October to the end of December, beginning of January, as hard as you can to change who you are.
Okay.
But when I was reading a definition, right, because a lot of gym people use it, right? It's okay. We're in the winter arc. We're either going to bulk up or we're going to shred. We're going to do.
I like to bulk up for the winter.
Yeah, we're going to do whatever we're going to do. Like whatever our goal is during the winter, we're just going to crush it. We're going to get as strong, as big, as whatever. But I was reading it and I was like, they also have it for entrepreneurs. Like, how do you change your business? How do you change what you do? So it's basically taking 3 months to transform your life, your business, your personal relationships into what you want them to be so you can kick off next year.
Okay.
So have you entered, like, mentally the winter arc?
No. That's a negative.
Negative Ghost Rider.
Negative Ghost Rider. Pattern is full.
Okay. When we say negative in here from now on, you have to say negative Ghost Rider.
Negative Ghost Rider. Pattern is full.
There you go.
Okay. So I had not really heard about the winter arc or gotten much into it until I came across a video the other day and it was David Goggins. Okay. And so, I mean, I'm sure everybody's familiar with David Goggins. Guys, if you haven't seen his book,
he's a friend of the show.
Best friend of the show. He's a local guy. Best friend of the show. I've seen him running multiple times.
Right.
But he had a video and he was saying, and he is a wild cat. Goggins is a wild MFer, as he would call himself, right? That guy's, but somebody said to him, he said, because he was like, he had his shirt off or whatever he's working on. He's like, oh man, it's like, dude, you must be hitting that winter arc, getting like, like really turning on. He's like, listen, because I don't do a winter arc. He goes, and he used some choice language, right?
Yeah,
you can imagine. He's dropping some mother effers out there. He goes, this is me 365. He goes, I don't winter arc. He goes, I live this way every single day. And that's a tough task for a lot of people to get up every single day and grind that way. But I thought it was a good point. Like, you talk about the winter arc. It's like, okay, 3 months to transform your life. But it's like that 3 months has got to kick into a lifestyle. Because like you, for example, you've been on this journey, which is labeled out in your Cubano Maui tattoo.
Yes.
Right? And that's part of the journey. But now, like, could you imagine yourself not going to the gym? I know you plan ahead of time, whether it's on a cruise or vacation or a work trip. You make sure the hotels you stay at, where you go, have gyms. You have access to your fitness. Correct. Okay, and that doesn't mean that you have to be the world's greatest bodybuilder, but that is now part of your life. Correct. And so when I was listening to him talk about the winter arc, he's like why? Why am I going to change for 3 months what I do to kickstart? Now, don't get me wrong. I know you've got to make changes and make a hard push to get going. But I think his point of it was like, listen, this is not a 3 month winter arc. Like, yeah, I may have changed. I may have used like a winter arc as a catalyst, to start something. But his life now, that's not just his life. So maybe the winter arc was the catalyst that got him to change something. But now he grinds after that. Now, 360, that's just a new way of him living.
Well, I think that's the intent.
It might be.
Of the winter arc, right? Because once you see the transformation, be it mentally or physically, you don't want to stop. Like I was looking at something the other day, and I think it was Monday or Tuesday or whatever. And from the very first day I signed up to the gym to that day, whether Monday or Tuesday, I've had 128 possible days to go to the gym. Mm-hmm. I've gone 124 days. Wow. I've missed 4 days out of 3 months.
I've missed 4 days this week. So
I can mentally tell you what days I missed.
Yeah,
because I know.
But see, and that's cool, and I think that's what parlays into our business and the way that we operate the team. It's like, dude, real estate is gnarly, and it's not for the weak. Like I think a lot of people see it and it's sexy on TV and stuff, but it's like these things where you're trying to match up, and we all take it different. Like you thrive on when chaos starts to happen a little bit. Me, on the other hand, I'm good with it and I figure my way out of it. But my first step is to kind of almost like panic a little bit. Like, okay, I'm like I mirror and match, right? So if a client shows anxiety, my first thought is, oh, I need to have anxiety too. Like you're right. Like, but then I'm like, wait a minute, no. If you have anxiety, that means I can't have anxiety. Right. And I know I have this under control. But, there's a lot that goes into real estate, and especially when you're working a selling of a property and a buying of a property at the same time, because, the timelines are tight and you're trying to line up everything to be perfect, and it can be stressful.
Well, I know that we're going to continue to crush it.
Never doubt.
We're going to do a bunch of wonderful things, and you're bringing the uniform.
Ooh, I'm gonna bring one in.
You're gonna bring one in next week, and we're gonna show it and showcase how sporty the kids look.
And we'll see. We'll let the people decide if they're keepers or not.
All right, brother. Have a great week. Let's crush it.
Hey, winter arc season.
Yep.